What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 434 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, JR. Joining me, as always, is my co host, Alex.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's been a while, but it's going to be worth it. I hope you've been enjoying the last couple of weeks, your time off, I guess. I don't know. To me, it's already, when is Halloween? And why is it like my neighbor's tree has started shedding leaves, and I'm like, is it autumn? And it has me excited.
It's the point where many haunters start panicking because it's the get prepared before we have to be prepared. So we have to start making sure that, actors are getting hired and sets are getting built, and how different do we have to make the sets or the houses or the mazes, and how different do we have to do the makeup or have like spooky masks over people's normal masks. Because if we're going to need those, we need to start making them now. So that's been fun.
It's like an ambush every year. Like, I was messaging you earlier. We were working out when we were going to be doing this. And like, oh, I just left the park. And I was like, what? It's August. But then the stuff comes up real quick, because eventually anyways, Halloween's coming and I can't wait. I'm very excited, but we do have important things to talk about today. It is just, by the way, there's no one waiting. We're not making anyone wait an absurd amount of time to introduce them. It is just the two of us. It is just Alex and me. This week we're doing a justice. If you're unfamiliar, if you want, there's a sticker that says that.
Yeah.
You can go to omvpodcast.bigcartel.com, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the one?
I hope so.
There's a blurb at the end where I say it, that you can hear it there. But you can get a sticker that talks about Justice episodes that our good friend Seymour drew for us. There's also a sticker pack with a bunch of other stickers there. So get them while they last. Extremely reasonable prices, and they're funny little inside jokes from the show. Especially if you've been a longtime listener, there's really neat things in there. But yes, it is Justice. It's just the two of us chatting a couple things today. Might be some spoilery bits, talking about potential Suicide Squad in a little bit, just kind of a heads up. We'll note it when we get to it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking about that in a little bit. First, though, we do have a somewhat of a significant announcement, I guess, to get to. I've been trying to work this out in my head for like weeks on how I want to approach this, and all of that work is going to be for nothing because I have no idea how to really go about it.
But go ahead and start with saying what you said to me.
Just Band-Aid it?
Yeah.
Just go right at it. Yeah. So we've been doing this for a long time, since 2012, and our 10-year anniversary is coming up in March, end of March-ish. And at that point, gonna call it. That's gonna be it for the show, kind of as we know it. I'm a tired boy. I'm an old man, and I feel like 10 years has been a hell of a run. Mm-hmm. The people that we've been able to talk to, the conversations that even just you and I have been able to have, and hoping that maybe one or two of our friends will listen to them. And it's been a good run, but I feel like 10 years is a good stopping point, a good decade of content out there into the ether of the internet. Yeah, I guess that's about it. It's kind of what I hit you with a little while ago when I brought this up. Yeah.
So when you told me the wording was that like you would like to, that's 10 is good for you.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I understand because sometimes it could be a struggle and it's tough to try and plan a life around trying to be like, oh, well, I think we'll have a guest for tomorrow, but I'm not sure. And then this happens every week. It's not easy. So I was like, I get it, and I'm cool with it. But I would still like to do a few things. So we haven't decided what to call it after that.
Right.
But I'm not going to be doing monthly episodes, and I'm not going to be looking for a new co-host. I do absolutely want to make more Starwell. So if anything, stay tuned for hopefully a lot of Starwell episodes over the audio drama. And maybe I'll find reasons to put out an episode a season
Right.
of new MV or OM version 2. Something like that. But at this point, we have 16 episodes left after this one. And that's where we're gonna call it. Yeah, but like right now we don't have any tender goodbyes because we still have a lot of stuff that we want to get through and a lot of friends that we still want to talk to. All of our important friends we've told them, we've braced them for it. They know it's coming. And so they're aware that like we'll want them to come back and have a chat with us towards the end, which is our, as always, Brett, Joe, Colin. I just told Will. I saw Will yesterday.
In person?
Yeah, he was dropping stuff off at the park and he had to run back real quick. He didn't have much time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, inter-park transfer of stuff.
Right.
But he was like, we should have everyone on all at once. And I'm like, that would be chaos. And I like it, but I don't know if it would be good content. But yeah, this is a good chance for any dates that we have open, any plans that are not fulfilled just yet. If anyone listening has requests, or any ideas for, I don't know, goodbyes, like we'll still be living, we'll still be around, we'll still be friends, which was a thing I had to talk to the group about and be like, yeah, we're still going to like play D&D together. It's not like we can never see each other again. We just won't be making a bi-monthly podcast.
It's a good, like, I'm excited because there's going to be like the gauntlet of, kind of, I guess, last appearances, final, whatever you want to see. Who knows what the future's, going to hold with what happens. But as far as like the current format of the show and what we've been doing for the last decade, we're going to have some fun, hopefully fun last appearances with like the crew that, and I always say longtime listeners, they'll recognize, some of our best friends, some of the people that this show wouldn't have been possible without, and who we leaned on for help so much, especially in the early years, when we just had no idea what we were doing. But we're gonna have some fun conversations and some reminiscing and all that stuff. There's plenty of time for that, but we still have months of content left to make. I mean, it's August now. We're going to be going through, like Alex said, there's 16 after this?
Yep.
15 or 16?
Yeah.
16. So that'll get us through around to March. Our last serial, like if you want to go number wise, is 450. So, I guess you can start the countdown if you want in your head. So 450 is going to be our last one, but
it's also a good chance to make some reaches for some guests.
Right.
Make some attempts that we thought we couldn't really. Oh yeah,
we already started, but like we couldn't say anything because Templesmith was kind of a, what, fuck it.
That's exactly what that was.
That was around the time when we were starting to really talk about it. So just went for it, and who knew?
Turned out to be a near 2-hour episode.
Yeah, it turned out to be a marathon of an episode with that was a fun one. But yeah, it's a good excuse to just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. and hopefully we'll get some fun conversations out of it. I'm excited.
So now no one's surprised if they're regular listeners. Here, this is the news. And
yes,
after this
the news.
episode's posted, we'll post about it a little bit here and there. And if anyone has any questions, just listen to the episode.
Yep. I'm probably intentionally going to leave the blog post vague, just to be a real jerk and push numbers.
Yeah.
It's essentially the podcast version of a clickbait thumbnail.
Sweep. Remember that?
Sorry,
that's like an 80s term. I don't know. Sorry.
Sweeps is probably, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I watched. Although I'm watching 30 Rock right now. I'm finally joining 2007, and I'm watching 30 Rock now.
We're still guilty of wanting to get those download numbers.
Yep. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's still something I check. I mean, when we first started doing this, I remember messaging like you and Justin, like, "Oh my God, we just hit 20 downloads." And it's still fun to see just what, like, apparently a couple days ago, someone was really listening, but
really?
Looking at the stats right now, but that's for a whole other conversation. Anyways, yes, that's the news. That's our fancy schmancy announcement. I'm excited for what the future brings. The next couple of episodes, or the next couple months of episodes rather, should be a very good time. If not an excuse to talk to, kind of reaching for the stars, like you said, but also just to chat with some of my closest friends again. Just kind of one last time, making them sit down and devote hours of their time putting a microphone in front of their face, which, by the way, thank God, we're going to get to the thank yous. There's going to be tons of time for thank yous. Yeah, that's it. So 450 is going to be the last one, at least, in the current format. And then we'll see what happens from there. But I'm probably going to be tapping out for a while. Your boy's tired. Yeah. So with that said, we do have some other things to talk about this week. There is a topic that we wanted to touch on with Suicide Squad. And then there's also kind of like an old school, like, question thing that we might get to depending on how long we ramble about Suicide Squad. But so if you're trying to avoid spoilers, I don't know how much we're going to get into it, but if you are trying to avoid spoilers, it's probably best to either skip ahead or come back after you've watched the movie, if you want to watch the movie first. But we're going to start talking about Suicide Squad now, because
we have to get it right. This is the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
That's what differentiates this one from the last one. Apparently that's all it takes now.
And that differentiation is necessary because, and you'll have to pardon my hot take here, in my opinion, I've said for a long time now, the original Suicide Squad movie was my least favorite comic book movie ever. I very much didn't enjoy it. Was not for me, despite the fact that I liked most of the cast. And I was like, oh, I like these people. It was not great.
I don't know if we've talked about it at length before. I don't recall. I think we may have dumped on Jared Leto's Joker a lot.
I mean, it warranted dumping.
So we don't have to get into that right now.
Yeah.
Because what we have to say about the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, is mostly positive.
Yep.
And let's stay in that mood, I guess.
Yeah. Let's be happy. Let's applaud nice things.
I'll start. Part of like the big bad was spoiled for me from an Instagram post, I think before the movie was actually out, because
right.
I don't know if I didn't like intentionally take in much trailer wise or like behind the scenes wise or look up the plot or anything, but James Gunn had tweeted or posted something about like being at the UK premiere and they had built a giant starro at the premiere. There was
like
a huge starfish. And I was like, is that why is Starro at the premiere of Suicide Squad? Is Starro in the movie? Because Starro's not a Suicide Squad bad guy. He fights the Justice League. Like Superman and Green Lantern have a hard time against Starro.
He's Starro the Conqueror. Right? Conqueror? Or
yes.
is that, I'm thinking Kang.
They're both conquerors, yeah. No, you're correct on both ones. Yeah.
There can be more than one.
There's a lot of Conan was a conqueror at some point.
Exactly. Now we need to have a contest. Who's the best conqueror?
Oh boy, that's
right. Put it up on the poll.
Time traveling, mind controlling, starfish, purple face man with a giant barbarian sword. Just combine them all. That's what I want. So,
anyways, Starro.
And I mean, I have to go back to my old tropes of hating what's gotten wrong in the past, because my first instinct is to go, remember the second Fantastic Four movie, and Silver Surfer's there, and he looks pretty cool, and does cool things with the board that I didn't see happen in the comics, because like a missile disappears into it, and it's like, whoa, that's cool. Galactus was going to be awesome, and then Galactus shows up, and he's a cloud. He's just a purple cloud with some lightning, and he's not the giant humanoid person with the helmet and the shapes and the blue and purple. He's just a cloudy cloud with, you could see his shadow though. There's a shadow. Maybe he's in the cloud. No, you never see him. You never see him at all. He's just a cloud. It's like, well, that was disappointing. And then, time goes by. We find out, we gave that job to a second unit to CG that together. And that's what they came up with. Someone approved that and they said, okay. And that's what they made. Because budgets, I guess, whatever. See, have fun with that. We made Galactus. That was Galactus.
And isn't one of Galactus's things like he manifests in whatever, like, the mind can comprehend or something like that? Or like
sometimes it's his choice.
He looks
too
right,
because
it's like they could have done so many things.
His size,
even then, Galactus has like one of the coolest designs ever.
He does, because sometimes he's been like the size of a building, and sometimes he's been like towering over buildings.
Because he eats planets.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes he just kind of like laser blasts it and devours it somehow, and other times he has to construct a device out of his ship. Sometimes he doesn't have a ship. He just kind of like floats through space. It's, it depends. Everything can change. It's comic books is weird.
It's comics.
So that was disappointing. Well, we get Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, and we've been through the Lantern Corps, the rainbow, all the rainbows, the Sinestro War, and like we kind of know what to expect. Like we're not going to get all that because it's brand new Green Lantern. We might get some Sinestro. That should be cool. I don't think we're going to get the Corps yet. And so at this point, we know that Parallax looks like a grotesque, like giant, horrible insect kind of monster. And so I'm expecting, like, what are we going to see for that? Because you could do anything with the rings. You could literally make anything. So what's Parallax going to look like? He's a face and kind of a massive cloud. He's a cloud thing, but he has a face. But the rest is just kind of, you can't really tell what it is. It's there. It's yellow and it's there. It's a mess. I didn't see the Parallax that I know from the comics. So that was okay.
Yep.
So we get to like, okay, the big bad is like a space figure. It's ultra powerful, and it's going to be the huge threat to the team. And I'm picturing a conversation between like production or producers and James Gunn being like, right, so how about we just make Starro a giant cloud? And James Gunn goes, no, it's going to be a giant starfish. I want to use the giant starfish. Can we please just make a giant starfish?
Starfish will never work.
It's like, okay, what if it's a person who has a starfish shirt? It's like, nope, he's got to be giant. It's got to look kind of cute, but also scary because it's huge, and also kind of gross because there's a lot of textures on there. So just make me a giant starfish. And be like, but I'm not sure if that'll play, because I mean, no one else has had to make the thing before. You just make a cloud. Right? We'll just do that. It's fine. Don't worry. It'll be fine. And I want to picture James
People
going like,
love clouds.
Just throw him out of the office building. Just throw him out of the window.
It's like the meme.
Yes.
Yep.
And that was exactly the Starro that I wanted to see. Sometimes he can like shoot lasers and shit out of his eye or his appendages, because back in the day he didn't always like spit out the tiny starfish, or like he would grip Superman in his arm and like try and hold him and shit. But I think what we got was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted Starro done any other way. Like if that was the biggest hurdle to like movie making, because you need to make a bad guy worthy of the team, then like they did it. They did the starfish. Thank you for just getting one of them right.
Yep. And it's not impossible to, because like Starro, I like Starro. I am a big fan of the Justice League, and the Justice League regularly fights Starro. Sometimes there's a mini version of Starro that's kept in a jar called Jarro, and like he refers to Batman as his dad and just constantly wants to impress his dad, Batman. But so when I heard Starro, I was like, okay, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But like to someone like my wife doesn't read comics. She's not really interested in that. Mm-hmm. She watches a lot of the movies with me. Starro is, what is this? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be hard to like get a villain like that kind of over, you know what I mean? To use like a wrestling term.
Right.
It's a giant starfish. That's what he is. He's a giant starfish, and he can do the mind control, and he conquers, and people turn into like his little Starro minions.
I don't know if you remember the Hurricane Helms from WWE.
Yeah.
He had like the superhero gimmick.
Yep.
And so sometimes they would like act up that he actually had superpowers. And then there was one time where I think Big Show or Triple H just beat the crap out of him because he doesn't actually have superpowers.
Right.
And you introduced like something that was kind of silly, and like you couldn't decide when to play up the silly and when to say, no, this isn't a thing, and we're just going to slap it down. They did a good job of like skating that line of like, we get it. It's kind of a silly concept. It's Patrick Starfish, but it's huge. It walks through buildings. It spits starfish out of its armpits. That's kind of gross, but why not? And it has one eyeball. And again, we were talking about this before, making each other laugh over chat. But it was like, yeah. So I want Starro's eyeball to be the highest detailed piece of CG in the entire movie. Like, I want this eyeball in higher def than John Cena. Like, I don't care how big his biceps are. I need to see this eyeball and feel feelings. So make sure we get that right.
And they did.
They did.
They absolutely did. That eye was the highest definition eyeball. And again, if you haven't already, we did warn about spoilers, so you got to see the inside of the eyeball in depth.
Which I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where you cringe up, because you think about getting your eyeball pierced and how much that would suck.
It's like she just jumped into a pool.
Yep.
And I was like, okay.
But also just the ability to take a giant starfish and be able to make you empathize with it. Mm-hmm. 'Cause it's like, he was just chilling out in space.
Yeah. Well, when he says, I just wanted to look at the stars.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we did this to
him. None of this is his fault. Can you blame him for being upset? He's been experimented. He was abducted in space, and then he was experimented on by the
thinker.
Is that who that was?
Peter Capaldi.
Thinker. Yeah. Right, yeah, Peter Capaldi just killing it. And then he just he gets his eyeball shredded and he gets annihilated, and it's very sad. Yeah, he did kill some people. But like even like we just said with the last line, because he's able to have like the people he controls talk for him, and it mentions that he was happy just floating around staring at the stars, and it's like God damn it. Damn it, James Gunn. And they just make you feel for it. It's like, oh yeah, they beat the big bad guy, and then they just rip your heart out.
Yeah.
But
is it weird that he was my favorite part? Like,
there's a lot of good parts.
So much went on in like, this is what I'm clinging to. Just the way that like they had two teams. Wouldn't you be furious if you were on the first team?
Oh yeah.
They're
just bait.
Rick Flag should be pissed at Waller.
He was the go-to guy in the first one, although they have said that this isn't a sequel.
Right.
So it's not like the Rick Flag that we saw in the Suicide Squad had been through the events of the first Suicide Squad. Like it never happened.
Or maybe it kind of happened. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, gray area.
Sometimes they do the thing where they say it's just another issue.
Right.
And they don't have to line up. But
it was I really enjoyed that though. It was a great kind of swerve, because I fell into the initial trap, or not the trap, but like the initial mindset of when I was watching the first Suicide Squad, in that it moves very quickly. It's like there was not a lot of setup, and it was just like, okay, so this guy's this guy, he can do this, and this guy's this. Okay, you're all a team now. Go out and do this. And it was holy shit. And it kind of did the same thing at the beginning of this one. It was just like, they're rounding up the gang.
One guy's gonna get away, and they explode his head. It's like, okay, well, who's the one guy gonna be this time?
Right.
Everyone's dying.
Yeah. Pete Davidson, who's the looks and one of the marquee name. Oh, Pete Davidson's in this? Damn, okay. he bites it 10 minutes into the movie. And then it's like, when does John Cena show up? But
I was like, what is Weasel gonna do? Is Weasel
nothing.
Is there some amazing transformation?
He did exactly what he was supposed to do. But it was I enjoyed that part of it. It was like, okay, so I thought I knew the direction this was going, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. And that made me happy, because I like when one of the main criticisms of a lot of like the superhero movies is they can be very formulaic. And I can't even blame them, because the formula works. Look at the money. Look at how much money they make, Yeah. So when something kind of goes against it and just kind of, I don't expect it to go that way. Cool. I'm okay with that. And it works. Dope. Awesome. Let's go. Let's see what else happens. And John Cena was hilarious.
Somewhere else I saw, they didn't like is he Peacekeeper or Peacemaker? I forget now.
I believe it's Peacekeeper.
Someone thought that was just bad acting. And I was like, I thought, no, that's exactly who he needed to be. That was entirely on purpose. All his lines were delivered perfectly for who and what Peacekeeper is.
Shit, it's Peacemaker. Fuck.
Whoop. Like, I know he's just a wrestler, but he's done a few other things, and he's come a long way, and he's grown, and I don't, for what he had to do, John Cena did a fantastic job as that character. To be pretty much, he got to be a badass, but still be ridiculed. And then have to deliver those lines with a straight face.
Right.
And that's exactly who the character is. I didn't see any bad acting there. Like, that was spot on.
No, I didn't. And like, I get where, because when someone who clearly hasn't been an actor before and they jump in, it's like, okay, like, you look at some of like Batista's early stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, he's fine. I mean, I'm not an acting coach here, but I like to think that I can tell the difference, You can
tell when someone's getting help.
Yeah. And I thought Cena did great. I think I saw an interview or a snippet from an interview where James Gunn was saying that John Cena is one of like the best improv people he's ever seen in his life. Which I guess makes sense because his entire career was improving
He's had to do so much live
performances. Live in front of crowds of tens of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. Also, did you know they're making a Peacemaker TV show?
What?
It's coming to HBO Max, apparently. Self-titled television series for HBO Max. It's Peacemaker. Created by James Gunn. Yep. So apparently we have that to look forward to.
Not only, so he's a big enough name. You know what's weird? I just realized the people that know Idris Elba's name and like everything he's done, which is a lot, are not like mostly won't be the same people who know John Cena's name and everything he's done.
Right.
Like they're both popular and they're both big names and they're both fairly at the top of the game in their respective audiences. But normally they don't have the same audiences.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know a lot of wrestling fans who've watched Luther.
Exactly.
I don't know a lot of people in general who have watched Luther. I've watched by the way, Luther's a great show.
I thought it was shot kind of weird. I think I've seen season 1 and some of 2.
It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but and it was nice because it's short. Like the seasons are like 4 to 6 episodes because British. Mm-hmm. But it's, detective with faults and gritty noir shit, death, working with the bad guys, stuff like that. It was good. It was good. I liked it. I liked Idris Elba a lot. Me and like many people, our first interaction with Idris Elba was actually from The Office. When he played Charles Minor, in like 4 episodes, he was like the replacement boss when Steve Carell's character quit for a couple episodes. Mm-hmm. And he was a bad person. You hated Charles Minor. That Charles Minor's such a dick. Why is he so mean to Jim? Because he liked Dwight, but he hated Jim.
That's weird.
So it was yeah, exactly. Yep.
For a second, I was wondering if doing this movie was a step down for him. But then I remembered he's been in Fast and Furious, so no.
Yeah, he was in Fast and he was in he was in Pacific Rim, He's
all right,
no stranger to like.
Let's not compare Fast and Furious with Pacific Rim.
On Pacific Rim is great. Do not get me wrong, but when you go back and watch Pacific Rim again, it's like, okay, this is great because what it is, but it's not a great movie. Like, no one's going to be giving it Oscars like for the acting or for the script or maybe I got ruined by the second one, which was just not a good movie. I did not like the second Pacific Rim, and it kind of, I don't want to say it sullied it because Pacific Rim owned my life for at least that one summer. We never shut up about it. But where was I going with this? Idris Elba. He's great. He's like one of my top, probably my top 5 favorite actors right now. And it's down to like, if I had a choice for anyone to play the next Bond, it would either be between him or Gillian Anderson, because I feel like she would be an amazing Bond. They'd both be great.
She's been like a shape changer recently.
And yeah, she was in she played that show.
Where are you going? She's in The Crown.
That's so I was thinking of.
She was the prime minister in that. I forgot.
Yep.
Thatcher. She's Margaret Thatcher.
Thatcher. That's the name.
But she got aged up for that. But then she was also, I believe she was in American Gods.
I haven't seen it.
And at one point, like, her character was to look just like, I can't think of his name now. Who's Ziggy Stardust? She looked like Ziggy Stardust.
David Bowie?
Yes. They made her up to look like David Bowie for a
That's
scene.
Awesome.
Or for, I didn't watch it, but that was a big thing that like they did that with her look.
Right.
So now at this point, I don't know how old she is or what age she could play.
Right. She can do it all.
Yeah.
that Gillian Anderson. Anyway, so Suicide Squad, I very much enjoyed it. I was glad to hear that you liked it too. I mean, it was one of those things. There's not a lot of good things that have come out of the last year in terms of the pandemic, but I will say, living with someone who is immunocompromised and not having the ability to kind of like things are still kind of scary. So going to the movies is out of the question right now.
Yeah. I haven't
even
seen
when I was
Black Widow yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Disney's crazy if they think I'm going to pay $30 to see Black Widow on top of the subscription fee that I already pay. No, thank you. But it was nice being able to like having HBO Max and being able to watch some movies. Like I didn't know Suicide Squad was coming to HBO Max until like 2 days before, and there was like a preview for it, and I was like, wait, what? And it was exciting. It meant me and my wife got to sit down and watch a movie, you know, like a new movie, not something that's been around for years.
We didn't know if it was going to be on HBO.
Yeah.
Because we watched Wonder Woman 1984.
Right.
And when it was over, we kind of agreed, I'm glad I didn't pay theater money for this to go see it. But I definitely would pay theater money to go see the Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Even after having seen it, like if I somehow had the opportunity to like to see it in theaters, I wouldn't mind paying money to watch that. But it's just nice. It's one of my favorite, and I know a lot of people don't like the whole HBO Max showing the movie things. A lot of like directors and stuff are fighting it in studios and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But for I very much enjoy it. I was looking forward to Dune. Although I think Dune's getting pushed again. I'm not sure. We were able to watch Wonder Woman. Space Jam was on there for a while, but we never watched it.
I've never seen the first one.
You never seen the original Space Jam?
Never seen first Space Jam.
No shit.
I know.
It's not the greatest, but the nostalgia's there. I mean, I love the Looney Tunes. I love the Looney Tunes very much. But it's quite the movie. I remember I saw it in theaters back in the day at this kid Andrew's birthday party. The whole like we have the movie theater, and then you go up to the room upstairs and you play games and shit at the movie theater.
Yeah.
That's the first time I saw Space Jam.
I liked that Margot Robbie had a more consistent take on Harley.
So good
in this one, whereas the first movie, she was still kind of finding it, because at some point she had the Harley accent like from the cartoon that we were used to, and then sometimes it was something different and it wasn't always consistent. But then she got her own movie with Birds of Prey, and that really fleshed out the character a lot more, and she got to have more fun with it. And also I don't remember now, I think it was directed by a woman. They were talking about the costume changes and how like she gets to dress like a person now and not, have a slow bra scene or like, have her butt cheeks hanging out. She gets to wear clothes that like someone might want to actually wear. And so even in this Suicide Squad, like she was never less than 70% covered, I think.
Yeah.
It was either her like black and red leather outfit or the red dress. And I was like, that's fine with me. She could still fight, and she was still funny and could do cool stuff.
They even gave her a sex scene, and still, she was in the dress.
Yeah,
it didn't need to come off. I feel like it was a much better representation of the character. I haven't seen Birds of Prey. I've been like, there's been like a resurgence. People online have been like, "Yo, I just watched Birds of Prey, and it wasn't bad." It happened like right when pandemic dropped. It was kind of when it came out, so it was dead on arrival,
Fiance is a big fan of Harley Quinn. Did not like Birds of Prey. Was not a fan. I thought it was okay. Like knowing what they would have to do and the number of characters they were going to try for. Like okay. They passed.
Right. It was fine.
Yeah, I give it like a C+ at least.
But I very much enjoyed Harley's character. Harley's like main scene with
The javelin.
I don't know the name of the song, but like yeah, with the javelin and breaking out of the cuffs, and like even when they were torturing her, I was like, holy shit, like she acted her ass off. I felt in that, even just in that one quick scene, it was very much liked it. I thought they did hard, like, because usually I'm in the camp where it's like, okay, Harley Quinn is annoying, I don't need this. But yeah, I very much enjoyed Harley in this movie. I thought she killed it. I thought they represented the character well. They gave her really, like, probably arguably one of the coolest scenes in the movie. It's either between that scene or the scene where Peacemaker and what's his face? It's not Deadshot. It's Death something. Bloodsport are like competing on who can kill people cooler.
Yeah.
And it turns out they were like innocent civilians.
They're on their side, the rebellion.
Yeah. But man, that just it's in particular the one where Peacemaker, Cena, just walks up the table just hacking the guy with an axe. Oh, man, that one tickled me.
Blow darts.
Yep. That was a fun scene. It was a fun movie. James Gunn knows how to take a bunch of people. Like I was telling people, I've been reading mostly DC for almost over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of Justice League. I haven't read Suicide Squad, admittedly, but I know a lot of characters. I have never heard of Peacemaker ever before this. You said his name was Bloodsport?
Yeah.
Nope. I know the movie Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Never heard of Bloodsport.
I've seen Peacemaker. I've seen the outfit.
Right.
Because they were very comic accurate with that outfit. And like, but
I didn't see Cena doing like all press in the outfit too.
No, I didn't see that.
He was on like, he was doing like the late night runs, and he's in the Peacemaker outfit, and he was at the movie premiere in the Peacemaker outfit. Dude commits.
I liked how when they were undercover, like his shirt and pants didn't fit. He knows his role, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, you're so big, you're going to be the laughing stock, and he's like, all right, I'm huge, so I don't care.
Yep.
I saw a note today how when the time changed, where it would say, 8 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago,
right,
the scene actually carries out the 8 minutes to catch up. It's exactly how long it takes. And I believe the comment was, if you're a good filmmaker, this is easy. It should be easy. Instead of the clock's ticking, we have 30 seconds left, and the 30 seconds somehow lasts 4 minutes.
Right.
So I dug that part. I dug how the timing works out, and he tells you it will, and then it does.
And like they don't have to do that. It's the little things that, like, the extra effort is there. You know.
There's going to be a lot of comparisons between King Shark and Groot. Yep. Killer Croc, because you could say it's all the same character, but like there's minor differences that make them enjoyable.
I mean, King Shark is a vicious murderer. They just happened to tame him for a couple minutes, like he's cute and cuddly, but like King Shark in the comics just devours everything.
Yeah. But they still made him seem like a hero. Like, the way they're giving him hero poses, ripping people in half and backlighting them and like slow-mo that for a second, and like there's blood everywhere.
God, that was gnarly.
You can't do that with Groot though. He's not that kind of character. Groot's cute.
Just have him stab some people like through the gut, and you don't see any blood off screen.
And that's how big
he's Groot.
That's how big Killer Croc should have been too.
Right. And like look more like a croc.
Yeah.
Than
not just a guy in a hoodie.
Yeah.
When Peacemaker is going to reach for that memory drive or the disk drive or whatever it was, and Ratcatcher is like right there reaching for it, I gasped And I imagine if I was in a theater full of people, everyone else would have gasped too. Because that was a tense moment.
It was very, yeah. Because he just offed the hero,
Yeah.
like Rick Flag's a BFD. I was telling to my wife, I was like, that's Rick Flag. He's like the guy.
If
in Suicide Squad,
if I
isn't he?
had to put money on anyone surviving, it would have been him.
Right. Yeah, I did not see that coming. And then it was scary. It turns into like, the Terminator chasing after Sarah Connor. It's,
Yeah.
a big hulking monster who just showed that he is willing to do anything to protect whatever his version of peace is. Yeah, that was scary.
She was the smallest and weakest character, but then in the right circumstances, also the strongest.
Yep. And her dad who's actively directing a Marvel movie. Her dad in the movie, I mean, not her actual father.
Right, yeah. That was Raimi, right?
No, that was
a different Malik? Was that Malik something?
No. Her dad was played by
the director of Ragnarok.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's why can't I think of his name?
We're good at
his name.
This is why we're ending in 16 episodes.
Dude, Taika Waititi. Jesus Christ. Why couldn't I remember that? Yeah, he played her father in the movie.
Yeah, that's not Rami Malek. Why do I confuse those two?
Yeah, I don't know. They have fun names.
Because I'm stupid. Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, he's currently directing Thor: Love and Thunder, and also he did Ragnarok, and then it shows up in a DC movie, which is fun. But yeah, Suicide Squad was great. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. It was action. It introduces you to characters that you probably don't know about, like Ratcatcher. Apparently, this is Ratcatcher 2. I didn't know there was more than one.
I feel like the Flash Rogues do that a lot.
Right.
Where it's like there was Trickster, and then there was a new Trickster who was just younger. Because old Trickster became an FBI boss somehow.
Right. It's like Night Owl in Watchmen. There's or no, Silk Spectre.
Yeah.
Because there's like the original, and then the new and improved or whatever. Anyways, I saw on Reddit the other day. It was like, this is the first page of Alan Moore's script for the first panel of Watchmen.
Is it like 3 pages long?
Dude, it was insane. It was like an entire page just full of words for like one panel. And it was like, at the end, it was just like, okay, so draw this sewer grate. But like the description of the sewer grate was, 5,000 words. It was insane.
Somewhere I saw one of those examples. It was the description for a double-page splash from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh my God.
Where they're riding a flying carpet through a cave system. And the way Alan Moore writes is as if he's talking directly to his artist.
Yep.
And not just describing panel by panel, like as if it's a sterile procedure. Everyone works differently. It's neat.
Yep.
But
so yeah, Suicide Squad, fun for the whole family over a certain age.
So the thing that I realized, I had a level of enjoyment, but not excitement. I enjoyed the movie, but I don't have anything else to expect because I can't guarantee knowledge that DC is going to keep hiring James Gunn. And I don't have any spin-off movies to rely on or look forward to. I don't know what else DC has planned and if it'll be good and if it'll be in the same universe. Whereas with Marvel, I can expect like, oh, maybe we'll see character X cross over into this other movie. Because because that hope just isn't there right now, and I have to let the movie ride on its own.
It does have that different feeling where with the MCU, it's how is this going to tie in? What is this? What's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
What are the implications of this movie? Whereas with this, is this standalone? We're getting the TV show, which apparently the both of us just learned. But like, are these characters going to show up in the next Batman movie? Are they going to?
Right.
Is there? I would hope that they make more Suicide Squad movies. You know, I would be okay with that if they hire James Gunn again.
There's plenty of disposable characters to get through.
Right. So many. And if you can make characters like the Polka Dot Man and Peacemaker seem interesting, you can do it with anyone. But yeah, there's like a different vibe.
I would love to see an intelligent parademon.
Right.
Who gets a love story arc with Ragdoll.
Give me Big Barda.
Yeah.
Give me
she
me
doesn't
Mr.
belong
Miracle.
in Suicide Squad.
I'm just saying in general.
No, that would be a good movie. Was that teased? I feel like John might have known about that. I feel like that was pitched somewhere, and so many people would want to see it.
This is what happened. I'm so out of like the loop. You know, I don't go on the websites anymore unless it pops up on Reddit. I probably don't know about it. But yeah, the old Standby. I'm interested to see where they go with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun movie. Big recommend if you have HBO Max. HBO Max, by the way, like turned into like my favorite streaming service over the last year. Finally got to watch The Sopranos, and I don't know. I have nothing left to contribute to this conversation. Suicide Squad was fun.
So the other day, I asked you if there was anything that you wanted to do, but then couldn't, either because of time or money, convenience, luck, don't know how to get there.
Yep.
And then I realized I don't know if I have like a single good answer. I have a few that were possibilities, but then just kind of floundered, you know?
Yeah. I have a couple. Mm-hmm. It's like, because at the end of the day, a lot of it just felt like me being, this is all, it really, most of it, all the answers that I came up with boils down to me being lazy. There are a couple things that I thought of that, you know, obviously the timing wasn't there. It would probably be physically impossible. I didn't grow up in a family, you know, from means. It's not like we had a ton of money growing up. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things require money if you want to be good at them or even just get involved in them. But there are a lot of things that's just me being lazy. Me being just, you know, I don't have time for it. I'm busy. I'd very much rather just enjoy my Saturdays sitting on the couch instead of committing to something.
Is there also a touch of like fear of failure?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what a few of mine are.
Yep. It would require a commitment that if it didn't work out, my life would be ruined. I mean, like I've always been, and this goes back to high school. Like, and this is kind of like the peak. I would have loved to have been a fucking actor. Mm-hmm. I acted in one high school, my senior class musical, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I absolutely loved it. I don't think I'm a very good actor, but I think I can recognize good acting. Like I said earlier, you know, it's something that I've always wished I did more, but there's not a whole lot of opportunity. And I also haven't sought out, you know, I haven't sought out chances to do it.
Yeah.
But I've always, like, in the back of my mind, like, man, it'd be fucking cool to be an actor. Being in movies, that would be dope.
it's, and like saying it like that, you think it would be so easy.
It's simple.
Like,
yeah, you just act.
You just become Brad Pitt. It's fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have friends who we've heard like horror stories of having to be extras to get your foot in the door.
Yep.
And how difficult, like, and time consuming those processes are. But they usually, most of the time, those still come away as fun experiences.
Right.
So I got reminded by my brother a few years ago that when I was a young child, when I was asked what I want to be when I grow up, I would say a taxi driver. And the logic in that was, so I grew up, I was born in 1980. So think of all the movies you've seen from the 80s and early 90s. Someone has to get somewhere really fast. They jump in a taxi. I need to be at Central Station in 5 minutes. I need to be at the church for a wedding to rescue the love of my life. I need to go to the police station. I need to follow that car. The taxi driver was the most important person in so many movies. I didn't care who the main character was.
They knew exactly where to go.
Exactly. It didn't care who the main character was or what they needed to accomplish. They needed the taxi driver to accomplish that. And so in my head, that's how that worked. I was like, man, taxis are so important. Look at all these movies and TV shows.
There's millions of them in New York City.
Later on, I learned you need to earn a medallion. You can't just become a taxi driver. It's difficult. There's a limited number of medallions they give out to allow you to be a taxi driver. And then
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, and then Lyft and Uber show up and like start ruining the game, and they're all pissed.
Right. Yeah. With their independent contractors.
Yeah. Yeah. I also thought I wanted to be an artist because, like many junior high and early high school kids, draw just to pass the time. And I would copy my comic books. I drew a number of Wolverines and not Wolverines and Spawn and whatnot. But then you get to a point where you see what other people are drawing and everyone else around you is much better. And it just makes you stop.
That's also on my list because just creating, and obviously we've talked with a lot of people who have the ability to do it, and we joke around that, we talk to talented people because we don't have talent. It's just one of those things, and I've heard a million times before, just keep at it. Art is subjective, blah. No, I'm not good at art. I cannot. It's not something I can do, despite the fact that art and design, graphic design, game design, all extremely intriguing things that I wish I could get like my foot in the door of. Not going to happen. It's just not. I've made peace with it. It is what it is. So I admire other people's art.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them how much I like their art.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me.
My first experience with an airbrush was catastrophic. And I kind of...
I mean, most are.
And I kind of like hated the tool at that point. And then a few years go by and I want this job doing makeup and they go, we use airbrush. Do you know how to use airbrush? And I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah, I do.
I had less than 2 hours experience on airbrush when I got hired. And now I've been doing it for 18 years and I teach other people how to airbrush.
Yeah. You teach other people proper airbrushing skills and know the difference between good and bad airbrush and what not to do.
And yet there's still a lot where I will look at something and go, I don't know how to do that. I can't teach you that. There's a level of skill above haunted house makeup that I do not possess. But I know this, and so I know my place. I wanted to be a pro wrestler real bad.
That's one of the few things that I did know, because you've mentioned going to wrestling school.
I looked around a bunch of places, and part of it was that fear of failure. And I kept getting told that shouldn't be the first thing I try. I should develop something so that I have something to fall back on if wrestling doesn't work out. And instead of actually developing any kind of skill, I just never went into wrestling.
Yep.
But I looked into a lot and I researched a lot. Killer Kowalski trained near Boston. He had a school. That's where China went. That's where Triple H went. Apparently he was mean. He had a tough gym. And this guy, Ox Baker, was in Connecticut. He used to train down in Willimantic, I think. Either Willimantic, Connecticut, or Willington, one of those two. You won't be familiar with him. He was a big dude with a big old Fu Manchu mustache. He was in Escape from New York. He fought Kurt Russell in a gladiator bout, and Kurt Russell killed him with a spiked baseball bat. And one of our guests and friends, Keith Champagne, made a T-shirt of Ox Baker that says, "I like to hurt people."
Nice.
And I was like, I kind of want that. But I was looking at those places, and I'm like, how far away is Willimantic? Is it too far for a 19-year-old me to drive? I'm like, I think it is, and I don't think I could afford, the classes. And then I see Mick Foley driving states away to go learn how to wrestle and lugging entire rings by himself to the next show to set up. And I guess I just didn't have the same drive.
Yep.
And now I'm too old and brittle, having had spine surgery and not knowing what body parts are going to work day in, day out.
And lacking a kidney.
That might be important. Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those, I've never had the drive. Like, I liked wrestling a lot when I was a kid, watched it all week, fell out for a while. Now I'm back into it again. It would be cool to be in the business, watching AEW, man, that would be cool to be a part of that. How do I get to be a producer? I want to let's go build sets, Well, that's probably union jobs, but just to get involved. But even that, I have no idea how. And also I'm at a point in my life where I can't just do it.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, hey, how do I get this job traveling across the country? I have a wife at home that I need to be here for. It's not something that is feasible. But
part of the charm of having NXT in Florida, they're either at or next to Full Sail University. So they just use students from Full Sail.
Right.
So people go to Full Sail to learn camera work, editing, producing, all that stuff. And a lot of those students just walk across the lot and work at NXT.
Right. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it before on the show. This is kind of like a hobby that I never got into. Mostly the main thing was financial, but also because I was insecure. But it was mostly financial, but things like Magic the Gathering, and World of Warcraft, just MMORPGs in general. I guess you could also lump computer gaming in general. Growing up, I could never afford a computer. I could never afford a PC. Our family always had the shared PC, but it was always a piece of shit. It was just a pile that could connect to the internet and maybe you could chat with your friends.
Yeah.
But I've never been a PC gamer. I've always been console. So there's a lot that I've missed out on in terms of the PC gaming culture, and also the trading card game, Magic the Gathering. I never played it as a kid because they didn't really know about. I was a Pokemon card guy. And then after that, it was, I'm too cool for all this. When in actuality, I was not.
I think you were too young.
That too, yeah.
Because Magic hit popular when I was in high school, and I'm a couple of years older than you. So by the time Pokemon came around, it was well, that's for children. I still played the Game Boy games, but the cards weren't for me. But I knew how to play Magic because I had played with my friends because that's all we had to do. But Yeah, I think there was a point where like Magic fizzled to the older crowd when Pokemon came in. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
But
it
now
was
like
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
now they're all available, so there's really no restrictions.
Yeah, it's crazy, and especially now Pokemon's back, baby. I remember for years, because I still have my Pokemon cards, my original sets from when I was a kid
Mm-hmm.
that I played into oblivion, so they're, terrible shape. And I remember I had them for years, and like, it's just, oh yeah, they're worthless. They're not worth shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll give you $5 for your entire set. They're just nobody cares. And now, look who's back, all because of like Jake and Logan Paul. It's insane. Pokemon card prices are unbelievable right now. Absolutely through the roof. Packs, like the original booster packs that I used to buy for like $5 at EB Games. People buy them for like $500 a pack these days. It's insane. And yeah, through the roof. To the moon, even. But that's one thing that I always wanted to, but I knew it would be a huge money suck. I already spend too much money on comics as it is. And I don't have time. I don't have space. Can't do it. So it's just one of those things, I can admire it from a distance, but it's not something I can get into.
There was a time I thought I wanted to be a writer.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And I was looking at different, because there's always like message boards and forums of like people trying to connect and be like, can you write this story? And I have an idea for a thing, but I can't write it. And I was like, I'll try.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get a few experiences that you're just not happy with.
Right.
And you go,
yep.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do this. Or
not for me.
Or a lot of the times, because I was reading a lot, and when you read so much, you're a lot of times your mind's like kind of cycles, and you want to create your own thing. That doesn't happen to everybody, which I've come to learn. Sometimes people just enjoy the story, and I'll read something and be like, "Well, how would I do something different, or could I change the story?" It doesn't happen all the time, but it's sometimes. Where was I going?
You wanted to be a writer?
But I didn't think what I was doing would get anywhere. And I wasn't willing to just write 100 stories waiting for one to get discovered. Which I hear is like, that's the job. Like it takes an artist a mountain of paper to hand over one page that they're happy with. And that mountain of paper is like what it took to get them there. That was their experience and knowledge and training. And now I don't read nearly as much as I used to. And I feel like I lose words. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's like my vocabulary used to be okay, and now it's not what it used to be because I'm just not taking in as much.
It's one of those... I think it's Stephen King who's like, his thing is, you write for 8 hours a day. It's my job. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, 8 hours? Like I get exhausted just writing the 3 paragraphs of blog posts every 2 weeks for this show. And that's just like stuff that's pulled out of my ass. He has to write. Go ahead.
Think of how much he's written and then just discarded, but also edits, rereads, like first draft, second draft, third draft. Like write The Stand 3 times.
Jesus.
Can you imagine that?
Nope. Nope.
But like that's his job, and he's had enough experience to get down to that, to get that to a worthwhile process. Like not everyone else has that. I don't know. I want to call it a luxury, but he's worked towards it, and he's sacrificed a lot to get to that point where not just anyone can show up and say, "Oh, I have a 2,000 page manuscript," and an agent's going to laugh at you.
Right.
Yeah, so
It's
now
also,
I just try and find other avenues.
yeah, I think Star Wars is a nice
Star Wars upcoming.
yeah, a nice outlet, for that.
Yeah. It's meshing a few things
Uh,
together for me. So,
yeah. Probably the last one I'll mention.
hmm
I've always been big into cars.
hmm
Um, I wish I could have gotten into some form of like racing.
hmm.
Like as a kid, like there's karting when you're a kid, and then you go up from there. Um, a long time ago, I was
Is that
with someone
is
who,
that go-kart karting?
yeah, yep. Um, so like I'm really big into F1 now,
hmm
Formula One. And you see like all the people who race Formula One now, they all started as kids racing go-karts. And like when you think go-kart, it's not the go-karts that like you and I would drive. These are like go-karts on crack.
Yeah.
These things haul, and like if you crash, you can get messed up. But they start driving them when they're like 7.
hmm
And I was watching one interview. It was like, they're interviewing a lot of the drivers because a lot of them are really pretty young kids.
hmm
So there's some old veterans, but like they're interviewing them. They're like, what was your first car? And like a couple of them, they obviously came from means. Like, oh, my dad bought me a Mercedes S-Class, or like, oh, Honda gave me a whatever car because I was their I was their test driver at the time, but I
Yeah.
didn't have my license yet, so I couldn't drive it. It's such a weird thing to say. Like, oh, I didn't have my license yet, but I'm also a professional driver for Honda, test driving their race cars.
It's bizarre.
But I can't drive cars on public roads. I'm not legally allowed to.
Huh.
Anyways, racing is very expensive. I was with someone a long time ago who raced dirt bikes, and even that was, I could barely stay upright on a dirt bike. I went to a track with her once, and it was the most humiliating thing that I've ever done. Like, I went to a track all the time with her, but she was always the one on the track. I was the person clapping on the sideline. But there's one time where like there was an open track day at this local place in Connecticut, and like we borrowed a bike for me to ride on the track, and it was absolutely humiliating, but it was so much fun. I was getting dusted, just gapped by like 7-year-olds on 50cc minis. Like they were just blowing me away, and it was pretty humiliating, but
I remember
very
part
fun.
of that conversation where she had another friend there or something, and they were judging some dude who was around, or if not on the track, then around, I don't know,
Yeah.
a dirt pit or something. And this the way they were like, oh, yeah, this guy's new, he sucks.
Yep.
And you were just there going, I'm also new.
He's better than me.
I don't want to. Why am I doing this?
For what it was really neat though, and this is completely not off topic, but like I'm going way into left field here. We were there. It was me and my girlfriend at the time, and her friend and her boyfriend. And her friend and her boyfriend both rode dirt bikes. Her friend's boyfriend was very good at it, and we were out at the track at the same time once, and like he blows by me like multiple times. And one time, like he blew by me and like he stuck his thumb out, and I'm like, "Thanks, man. that really means a lot because this is really fucking hard." But yeah, I wish I had the means or the talent or the know-how, whatever, to be involved in that in some way, shape, or form. Like you can go to like your local track day and you can bring your car, but again, I don't want to blow up my car,
Yeah.
hit a wall and destroy it.
It's bizarre how the differences in these, I don't know, jobs, hobbies, sports, desires that everyone gets into, where sometimes, yes, they start at 7 years old because their parents are into it and they're following what their parents are doing, and they have the equipment because their parents use the equipment, or they have the means, or they have the knowledge because it just gets talked about at the dinner table. And then there's people who just say, yeah, I decided I'm going to be good at this. So I started practicing. Yeah. And you go, oh, how long you been at this? Like 30 years? And they go, 10 months.
Yep.
I just hardcore made the decision that I was going to be good at this. Like Brent Peebles, who just decided he's going to be a comic artist.
Right.
It took about 2 years to start drawing DC comics. Oh, that's okay.
Good for you.
I think Mike Choi has only been making art for less than 3 years. He posted recently.
Right. That's crazy.
But with this, us admitting the things that we thought about getting into and then ultimately didn't, but it helps us become fans or helps us recognize things. It might help us teach. We've talked to a lot of people who have done the thing, and continue to inspire other people to try to do the thing.
Right.
So if you're in the same boat as us, let us know. Post a comment. Tell us what you wanted to get into, but never have. There's a chance we've talked to people who have done what you were trying.
Yeah.
But there's so many people we've talked to who a lot of times they just say like they just committed to their art or their gig, their job, whatever. It might have not been possible for us, but it is for them. And it can be for you too.
It's and again, this isn't meant to be tell us we can do it. Give us the motivation. No. We've accepted. Like either it's not going to happen. Too lazy. Don't have the time. Don't have the motivation. This is just like the ones that got away. It would be neat if.
Yeah. I don't have any desire to drive a taxi. Don't. Fiance was trying to be real kind to me, and she's like, "Do you want this taxi like poster or toy?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. That's when I was 8. Like, it's a past thing. I'm not into taxi shit. I'm sorry, babe."
It's just a thing. It's just, it happened. It was a part of my life. But yeah. All right. We've been rambling for a while. I'm not sure how long, but I think we're over an hour. Yeah. Yeah. We did it. So yeah. Be on the lookout for some neat episodes coming up featuring some familiar faces. We got 16 left after this one, so the countdown has officially begun, and should be a good time. It'll be sad, but it'll also be a good amount of fun. So, yeah. And if you like Suicide Squad, if you had thoughts on Suicide Squad, if you had thoughts on things that you wanted to try, the ones that got away, like Alex said, let us know in the comments. Drop it in there. We like chatting with people, and that's it. Yeah. I think that's all I got. You good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm good too. I'm going to end this. So, yeah, all the stuff that I just said, good fun. Thanks for listening. That's going to do it. So, until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And this has been episode 434 of Opinions May Vary. Hey everyone, if you liked that episode, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Opinions May Vary, and on Twitter and YouTube at OMV Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify or on our very own website at omvpodcast.com. And if you're looking for merch, we have stickers and pins available over at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com while supplies last. As always, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we will see you next time.